Good afternoon, beautiful people. Today's video is on family dynamics, and I want to get you guys to understand the importance of understanding the connection with your family and you as an individual, but why you do the things that you do and why your family did the things that they did and how it just all connects. And so today's video is about family dynamics. And so I want to let you guys know, or let you guys try to figure out some of the things that you struggle with, some of the things that you love, some of the things that you admire, some of the things that make you you. And try to figure out who made you, not who made you, but who directed you or motivated you to like the things that you like, or who inspired you to do the things that you're doing, who inspired you to do what you're doing right now. Like, for example, I'm in college. Who inspired me to go to college? Was it just me, or like, where did that inspiration come from? And so my inspiration came from, being the first out of my family to go to college and graduate from college. But it also, my inspiration came from my family's struggle. And so my family dynamic, I was raised with my mom and my grandma majority of my life. My dad wasn't really in my life. And I was also raised as a coda, which I was the child of two deaf parents. My dad is deaf and my mom is hard of hearing. And so I kind of had it a little different than anybody else, growing up. Everyone else didn't have deaf parents. Everyone else didn't have the struggle that I had. Everyone else's parents didn't have the struggle that my parents had. And so when I would be around my dad, I would see the struggle that he would have. But then when I would be around my mom and see her being sick and being deaf at the same time and watching her struggle, it only inspired me to be the best that I could be and to give her a better life and to give our family a better life. And so I want you guys to figure out what inspired you to do what you're doing and what is the connection that brought you to where you are right now. I think it's important to understand that family dynamics doesn't just stop at who you were raised by or what your household looked like. I think it goes back to even to your great-grandparents and trying to figure out what connects you to your great-grandparents, because oftentimes people talk about generational curses, people talk about things that you struggle with. I had to come to the realization where I had to realize some of the things that I struggled with wasn't what my mom struggled with, wasn't even what my grandma struggled with, but it was what her mother struggled with, or it was what her father struggled with. And I think it's important to understand those things, because when you understand those things, you can realize that your family and you, it just will always connect. Genetically, everything will always connect. And I think it's important, because the more you understand how much it connects, the more you can understand you, the more you understand your lineage, the more you understand what can you change and what can you stop. So for example, generational curses, alcoholism, drug addiction, all of these different things. Once you see the different patterns within your family, you are able to cut ties off of those things. If you don't allow yourself to go and seek those things out and ask questions to your parents and have a relationship with your parents that is an open relationship, so you guys can talk about these things, you won't be able to, get to the point of understanding where you're at. Because when you understand where you're at, the first step is understanding where your family has been, understanding where your mom has been, understanding what your father has been, understanding where your grandmother has been, because everything connects. What you do 2 years from now, what you did 2 years ago, it's always going to connect to something and someone in your family, in your family dynamic. And I think that's so important for you to understand that, because if you don't understand that, then you go on living life without knowing the different signs and the different situations that may arise that isn't really by coincidence. It just is genetically connected. And I think that is so important. In my social work courses, we had to do something called the genogram, and in the genogram we had to use that chart and how to connect the dots for us in our life. Like, we had to see, okay, well, the reason why you are so navigated to men is because in your family dynamic, you didn't really have men, encouraging and being supportive in your life. And so you seek that out. And it's easier said than done when someone says, oh, well, you didn't have a father in your life. Okay, well, is it just because you didn't have a father in your life that you seek that out? No. What about your mom? Did your mom have a father? What was your mom's life without a dad? Or what was your mom's life with a dad? Or before her? What was your grandma's life or grandfather's life without her dad or with out his dad or with his dad or with her dad? You know, what, like, those are the questions that you have to ask. Those are the things that you have to seek out, because the more you seek them out, the more understanding that you will have. And so I want to encourage you guys to understand those things. You know, share your story, you know, talk to your parents. I think that's so important. Like, if you don't talk to your parents and communicate with them and have an open line of communication, you won't ever be able to grow to your full potential, because you won't be able to fully understand, like, what happened before me. You know, like, here I am, I'm a whole nother generation. So what happened before me, so I can have an understanding of why I do the things that I do, why I find things interesting that other people don't find interesting. Why? Like, ask those questions, and ask those questions to your parents, and try to figure out, you know, what else is there, like what's more to my life, and what comes with my lineage, like who are y'all, like, you know, ask those questions. And so I want to encourage you, the next video will be a part 2 to this video, and the part 2 I'll be talking about strictly generational curses, and strictly talking about the struggles of life, and why people in later generations struggle with people who dealt with something generations and years before us. And so I want to encourage you guys. I want to thank you guys for continuing to support me, and I love you all, and I pray that you guys have the blessed weekend ever. Okay, God bless you.